This week we're going to be thinking about fractions, so let's start with the basics. And a reasonable place to start seems to be the definition from Wikipedia, which tells us that the word fraction comes from the Latin word fractus, which means broken, and that it's a way of writing numbers where a whole is divided into equal parts. And the number of equal parts that it's divided to is called the denominator, so that's written on the bottom of the fraction. And then the numerator tells us how many of those equal parts we're dealing with in this particular case. So we've got a numerator and a denominator. Alright, so we've got the numerator, so we're enumerating, counting how many parts we have that we're dealing with today. And then the denominator, that is denominate, that means like naming. So that tells us what the size of the equal pieces are. So when we're writing out our fraction, the numerator goes on the top and then the denominator on the bottom. So we could think of it that the whole is being divided into 4 equal parts. So we can also think of fractions as a division. So we could do that sum if we wanted. So 1 divided by 4 is equal to 0.25. So that's another kind of notation we could use to write that number. So these are all equivalent. So I like to think of fractions, think about them by drawing. So here we've got one whole and we divide it into 4 equal pieces. And then the numerator is 1. So we're only taking one of those equal pieces. So there's our 1 out of 4. Now let's take another example. How about 4 over 4, 4 quarters? So this is equal to 4 divided by 4, which is 1. So this is equal, so if the numerator and the denominator are the same, then that tells us that that's one whole that we're dealing with here. So, and if we draw it out, we see the same thing. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 of the equal pieces are in our number. So that's our one whole is all coloured in. It's equally possible to have a numerator that's bigger than the denominator. So let's take the example of 5 over 4. So if we do the division, that's 5 divided by 4, which is 1.25. So here we have to draw more than one square. Here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I have to carry on and draw another square. And again, divide it into 4 to be able to colour in my 5th section. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here it's bigger than one whole, more than one whole. And how about if we want to draw think about the number 3 as a fraction, a whole number? So 3 is equal to 3 divided by 1, because we can multiply or divide by any number, and the value of our 3. Sorry, if we multiply or divide any number by 1, then its value will stay the same. So we could also draw this as 3 over 1. So that means we have the size of the pieces is one whole. 1, 2, 3, and then we take all of them. So as I say, the numerator determines how many pieces we divide it into. So that can be any whole number we like, but it cannot be 0, because it's impossible to divide a number by 0 or split it into 0 pieces.